All right, good afternoon, class. Welcome. This is week 6. Yes, week number 6 of your reference course, which is 7314. And I am doing a little check-in video that is going to mostly consist of me telling you all about some English resources. And this will be an optional video. Just aside from that, as far as course maintenance is concerned, I did have a few of you email me about your grades, and to that, I would say that right now you only have 1 or 2 assignments in the grade book as of right now. So if you see something that is a C or an F, don't panic because we have a lot of grading to do, and the first 2 assignments that you have in this course were assignments that were of lower point totals. So beginning with the virtual reference assignment, which again is due October the 6th, you all will have assignments that count more for your final grade, and therefore you will probably see your current grade starting to go up as those other assignments are in. So with that said, let's just do a little rundown really quickly of some common English language sources, or databases I should say, and from there we will time out. But let's get this in first, just so you all can have a little bit of knowledge of some databases that you might be using when you become librarians. So, looking for a database. And we are going to look by subject. This is here at the University of Missouri. University of Missouri Library. My apologies for this. We're actually going to go, for English, we're going to go to Language and Literature English. And we're just going to look at a few of these that would be commonly used if you were to have some sort of reference question that can be answered via one of the English databases, one of the literature databases in particular. So let us first start out with Literature Online. Now let me first point out that this Literature Online database is what is offered through Mizzou, but I've seen a lot of academic libraries that actually offer this resource here, which I'm going to go into the public library to get, but a lot of academic libraries offer this resource as well, and this resource is called Literature Criticism Online, which is offered by Gale as opposed to this ProQuest database that Mizzou has. So these are both databases that can be used to get literary criticism. I tend to like the Gale product more, but if you are working through the Mizzou website, then this is what you have access to. Now, I'm going to use Langston Hughes as an example. So let's say we wanted to find literary criticism. What we can do, we're going to default on this Hughes. Default on the all, I'm sorry. And we can type in Hughes Langston. And I am going to show you all how or why I feel that the Gale resource is a little easier to use. But what you have after you put in your search term, you're going to get breakdowns. First of all, we have over 2,000 results, and we're going to get breakdowns here by criticism, primary text, author pages, reference works, audio, and visual. So let's very quickly look at these. And by the way, I've said this once, but I need to remind you, the best way to really learn databases is to go in there and use them yourselves. I can only really give you an overview, and plus it's very poor practice actually to make videos that are instructional videos that are longer than about 10 minutes. And as you can see, mine is probably about to be a 30-minute video here. Speed it up. I've shown you how to do that. But yeah, that is part of the struggle with teaching reference, is that the videos just become too long if you're really trying to show off the databases. But I'm going to try to do that just so you all can get familiar. So again, you have these various breakdowns, and you've got a lot of criticism. So they start out with like the top 3, and I don't honestly know by algorithm how they arrive at their top 3 for each category. But if you want to get the rest of the results, then you click the little green button that is down here. So we can click that and get the rest of our criticism that they offer. If it's not, you see we have this full text option here. If they do not have the full text option, then you'll need to go through Journal Finder or one of these other resources to try to access that. But when you have the full text, what you can do is you can click the record. You've got your full text there. You can also download the full text. This is tabbed so that you can also get the full text as a PDF. It's not showing up quite the way I want it to there. But if I were to, I think it would actually show up in a different browser better. If I were to download this PDF, that would also be a little better for me. Okay. And again, you can come back out, and again, you have all these various things. So if you needed like a dictionary or encyclopedia entry on Langston Hughes, or some form even of reference work like a biography or something like that, then the reference works would be where you would want to come. Okay. Audio and visual, also author pages. So you have author pages that give you kind of an author synopsis. There we go. So this is more of a landing page, but you can get a biography and some other pertinent information there as well on the author page. And one thing you can do is try to make some limits here. So for instance, if I only wanted peer-reviewed or scholarly resources, then I could click this box. It's going to take it down a lot, because one of the things is that probably most of these primary text things, author pages and reference works, are probably not peer-reviewed. So let's see how much it takes us down from 2,000 to 300. So you see how much of a dent that put in it. And then it'd go down even further if we limited ourselves to full text, 288. And then if you just wanted recent stuff, which recent information on deceased authors isn't necessarily the timeliness factor here, and you're going to have to use some judgment on your part, but the timeliness factor actually isn't going to be as pertinent of a concern for deceased authors as it would be for some other subjects, such as health information in particular. So that is okay there. And with those limits, we ended up with 123 things. But I'm going to show you the Gale resource and show you how this is different. So literature criticism online functions largely the same way. I just like this one better. So again, we can put in Hughes and Langston search. And so from this one, your content types would actually be on the right. So you've got 1,000 works of literary criticism. We've got also biographies, topic overviews, and reviews. So you can also get subject breakdowns and things over here to the right. And if I were to specifically go for literary criticism, what I could do, that's already selected. So if I wanted to go for biographies, then I could change this to that. And then only the biographies would be listed. But I'll go back to literary criticism. Go here, and you can click one of these, and again, you'll get your criticism there. Okay. And these things can be downloaded. So this is like a PDF format that can be downloaded using this download button. Now, another thing that you can do with Gale that I think you can also do with ProQuest, but it's a little easier here, is you can also search for titles and get title overviews. Let's see. Not what I wanted. Hold on. Okay, I messed up, and I see where I messed up. A little bit of the Tuesday brains here. So I went to publication title. Actually, what you're going to want is the name of the work. And then hopefully we will get, and there you go. So as you can see, and one thing you might want to do, you might also just want to click on the name of a work, if you see it here. But we've got these reviews here. Well, these, I'm sorry, literary criticism. This is a literary criticism essay that is titled as a review. Actually, I see what's going on with that. Okay, that's not the one we want. And I'm showing you some real librarian stuff because you got to wade through some results sometimes, okay? Let's see. Got this one here. And again, this is going to take a while to load, but you will pull up your full text there, and this one is concentrating on, and this is actually, I think there's some sort of review of a review here, but it's going to be cleaner with some of your other topics. Okay. So those are your criticism databases, and I would just recommend going in, just experimenting with those. We're going to look at a few others here. Hopefully we can wrap this within the next 15 minutes. Now, from the public library side, some other things to just be generally aware of, some things that you are going to probably use in your experience if you are a public librarian. First of all, Bloom's Literature. Okay. One thing about Bloom's Literature is that you are going to have the opportunity to actually search for text in some situations, for full text for some literary classics as well as some poems. So you can do full indexes for authors, works, or characters. And I've actually never done this characters feature before, so let me look at that. Atticus, we'll go with Atticus from To Kill a Mockingbird. And so yeah, we've got some character information here, and this should be well, first of all, you'll see here in the right where this was taken from. In this case, it's Student's Encyclopedia of American Literary Characters. When it was published originally, not when the work was published. We all know that To Kill a Mockingbird was not published in 2008, but when this actual encyclopedia entry was published and who published it. And this is a character record. So you can get information on characters through this database, and that can be very useful. But what I want to do, is go back into the browse and into the literary classics. So you're not going to have the full text to anything and everything here. In fact, you see how many you have full text for, and it's 1,000 things. However, we'll click on this A Christmas Carol just to show. It's going to link us right into an ebook database. It's loading, babe. Okay. And this is good because you can actually read your full text right here. Okay. So this is very useful for that. The curriculum tools, be aware of them, but these are largely for teachers to use, not necessarily for librarians. But you can also get full text for poems, get information on literary movements, literary themes. And this database is just very visually appealing, which is one of the other advantages for it. So, for instance, you can go to Beat Movement here, get some information on that, specifically what it is, but this is also very visually appealing, and it's a very easy database to navigate. So that's Bloom's. So that's another one that you should have in your quote-unquote repertoire. The Children's Core Collection, you can just look at that really quick. So this is for very, very little children. And what do little children read? Do they still read Judy Blume? I don't know. Let's see. Blume, author. Okay. Let's try something else here. I'm just going to put in Earth as a subject. Trying to find something with a full text entry here, if there are any. Okay. So, yeah, you might be at the lookout and get something here. This is out of a children's magazine. And if you wanted the full text of this, there's not much here, but if you wanted the full text of this, again, you could click that PDF full text. I don't know why in Chrome my PDF thing is malfunctioning the way it is, but theoretically the PDF is going to populate right here, and then I could of course download it and open it on my own Adobe Acrobat. Okay. Another one that I'm sure you all in various libraries have seen, those multiple volumes of something about the author. And this is also geared mostly towards youth, but that same, if you've seen those serious books in your library, then you can also see, I think I spelled Judy Blume incorrectly earlier, and that's why she didn't come up. But she's coming up here because I am spelling it correctly. And you can put that in and you can just get some information on the author And again, this is mostly going to be for children's authors. Children or young adults. And you've got that information there. So, no, there are, and this will vary from library to library, but there are a lot of other English source of resources that you can take a look at. Now we're going to go back to Mizzou. No, thank you. And Mizzou, they've created a LibGuide here, and their LibGuide does break down some of the things that you will use, most frequently when assisting patrons with English and literature questions. So, the Gale Virtual Reference Library, this can be very useful. And let's say that we were looking, I guess maybe at this point, let's look at a literary movement. Wasn't there a goth movement? Gothic novel. Let's could actually look for that. Let's actually look for it as a subject first, and if we can't find anything, then we'll look as a keyword. And see, we've only found one thing there that was Gothic novels as a subject. And I am kind of curious as to how this was cataloged. But we don't have an extensive record here. Let's try it as a keyword, see if we get more. Alright, and we still only got 19 results, but the rise of a Gothic novel. So even though we only got even though we've only got 19 results here, got something here that is going to give us a little bit more of an explanation, Gothic novel or romance. So you get that, and you get source information at the bottom. When talking about these generated citations in these databases, they are one thing that is a trick or a tool of the trade is that these things are only accurate about 80% of the time. So if you have 10 sources in a bibliography and you're just copying and pasting the citations right out of the database, those are only accurate 80% of the time, and therefore if you have 10 sources, there's a good chance that at least 2 of them are incorrect. Okay, so be careful with those. But having said that, you do have like sort of a sample citation that you can start with, okay? So that is another one of those that I wanted to look at really quick. And by the way, we've got plenty of tabs here. And so the tabs are broken down, and you have to follow the order that the librarian is categorizing things. In this case, I think we have a very logical category breakdown. We have a tab for resources for finding, research, and criticism. By the way, you all do have a LibGuide assignment later on this semester, so kind of pay attention to how these LibGuides from Mizzou are organized, as well as LibGuides at some other institutions, because you will have to do one of these before the semester is over. So kind of get a feel for what you're seeing as I go through this and how they are breaking things down into logical categories, because you guys are going to have to do that when you all are forming LibGuides and things of that nature and when you're in professional practice. So we've got a tab for research and criticism, as well as one for primary and literary works, journals, and then background and biography. We're going to go back here, and this is an EBSCO database, this MLA International Bibliography. It's a very good one, though. So if you actually need some hard research, some facts, some things like that, then I am going to do two searches. The first I am going to do for a well-known author. Again, I'm going to use Langston Hughes. And when you have an author that is really well known, you can actually change this from a keyword to a subject field. Okay. I'm telling y'all stuff. I don't see what I want to do. There's subject. I have to scroll down a little bit. So you would enter Langston Hughes as a subject, and then you would find things that are about Langston Hughes. I would doubt in MLA International Bibliography that there are things by Langston Hughes, but we can do that just to see. Because of course, if I say that it's not in there, then it's going to be in there. Okay, so 24. But I'm not sure that these are available in full text. This is, we're getting things here, but they are things that are not in the database. So they look like they are making you aware of the existence of said items, but not necessarily carrying those items in the database. Let's see, link full text. Yeah. So if I were to click that link full text, then I would get absolutely nothing. So everything has to be found. If you are looking for things authored by Langston Hughes, they would need to be found outside of the database. But again, if you are looking for things about Langston Hughes, then you can use Langston Hughes and change this to subject, and you can look. And you've got nearly 800 results. Okay. Now, it can also be done for if you're looking for particular titles or particular series. I would assume that Hunger Games is in here. Yeah, so if you are looking about a particular series, we've got Hunger Games, and it's actually cataloged as Hunger Games Trilogy. So if you were looking specifically for things about the trilogy, what you could do is go back into a catalog record, and you could click the link where the general subject area is actually listed. And now all of these things are subject or delimiter. DE stands for delimiter for the Hunger Games trilogy. Okay. Doesn't look like we've got a lot in the way of full text there either. It looks like it's linking you back out. We do have a little bit. We've got 4 things. But if things are linking you back out, then you would follow the instructions here in order to retrieve those results. Pause. The last thing I'm going to show you, and then I suggest that you just look at this LibGuide on your own, and I'll show you again how to get to the LibGuide. But we are now in the tab for finding primary and literary works. So, Literature Online Text Collection, this is a very good one for finding some, especially if you're looking for some older things. That is a place to go. These other databases listed in the Books Online will also get you to various books that are important works that you can probably get the full text of in electronic form online. And then there are also resources for finding poetry, finding manuscripts, letters, diaries, and archival materials, and things of that nature. But as you can see, we are at 30 minutes, and so I'm going to have to cut it here. If you made it all the way through these 30 minutes, that's just sampling and an intro, but there needs to be some self-guided and self-directed learning. I can only get you started due to the time constraints related to the class. But there you go. Those are some overviews of some of the more common things that you're going to use. That is my time. I am out, and I will see you next week.